Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Oliver Temple of Gold Investments. Hi, Oliver. How are you?
Yeah, yeah, hi Mario. Very well, yeah.
Good, good. So, Oliver, today, maybe you could first talk about Gold Investments and the history of the company and how long you've been in business.
Yeah, so the business was started by my father in 1981 and always been run by the family. Started off in the city, moved around a while. I've been involved on and off since it started. Um, and But full time over the last sort of 10 years or so. So simply just buying and selling gold and for clients, delivery, storage, etc. So yeah, it's just a sort of a relatively small company, probably the oldest as far as dealing with sort of retail or clients as such. But yeah, nothing more to tell on us really.
Yes, and I started dealing with gold investments back in 2002 when I
Mhm.
first bought gold with your dad, Mike Temple. And
Yeah,
I've had a really good experience, and that's why I've got Gold Investments as my affiliate in the UK. And
yeah.
for all the details, you can check the description of the video. But today, I wanted to talk about storage, Oliver, and maybe you
Mm.
could tell the viewers the story that you told me the other day about the Royal Mint.
Yeah, so the Royal Mint, as with a lot of storage services, offer storage or did offer storage as a percentage of the total value. So obviously, as your gold is doing better, then you're paying more in storage. I think it ranges from sort of 1% upwards, plus probably a delivery charge. And I got a call from a client saying that Royal Mint is stopping their storage for sort of clients. I think as far as if they buy from elsewhere, then there's absolutely no chance that they can store. A lot of the banks have stopped, like HSBC, etc., did offer storage. We always have. It's a sort of a very low cost. I mean, it works. I think it's £4 an ounce a year. A kilo bar is £50 a year, and we always invoice the year previous. So, in other words, if we were invoicing this March, it's for the coins or bars you've had for the past year. And it's physically, either you bring in the gold that you bought elsewhere, or you buy it from us, and we package it up, put the contract number, your name, what's in there, and physically take it down, all sealed up to the vault. And then it's a pretty simple standard procedure. You sort of give us a call and either send in your certificate or bring it in, and we either give you the gold that you have there, or we buy it from you. Not all of it necessarily. You may want to just sell one coin and keep the rest there. Sell a sovereign, which is I think 40p a year, and then we just reissue the new certificate and pay you the money, or you can collect it and take it away.
Yeah, you told me the story, and I wanted to know from the Royal Mint if it was true. I wasn't saying
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
wasn't true. It's just that, yeah, and they told me that they provide still a service where you buy directly from them online and they store it for you. But
Mm,
they said is that in the last month, let's say you took that gold from them and then wanted to store it back or bought it
right.
say, from you and wanted to store them, that's ending. And she couldn't tell me, the lady there, why they're doing that. But it's interesting that they charge on the fiat currency amount, you know,
Yeah,
which is which is strange because if the price of gold doubles in the next year, you're going to be paying double
yeah.
the storage while you pay for a fixed Troy ounceage, right?
Yeah, yeah, and also, I mean, it varies. I mean, let's say, as I said, a kilo is £50 a year. 100 gram bar is about £12. Britannia is £4, and a sovereign is 40p.
Mm.
Um, but that has sort of, I think it's sort of come down a bit. If somebody has a lot, if they have like 100 Britannias or 200 Britannias, we tend to do a deal whereby we'll charge them slightly less. We probably would do that for your clients if clients who do either buy from us or have bought elsewhere and want to bring their gold in, if they tell us that they're a client of yours, then we'll do a deal with them.
Yeah, if you tell them
uh,
that Monaco 64 or
yeah, something like that. Or spoke to Mario or something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
just like we have special deals for people buying gold and silver from you, you would have a
Yeah,
special deal for the storage.
yeah, and they don't have to make that decision to store either all or any of it at the first stage that they buy. A lot of people want it delivered, and then the first time they go on holiday, or they suddenly realize that we've got basically cash at home with our kids. I'm not happy with that, and they change their mind and bring it in, and that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter whether they've do it immediately when they buy, or even if they buy from us, they can still bring it in. I think the two important points about our storage is, apart from it obviously being fully insured, is that it's not on our books, it's not on our accounts. We don't own it, you own it, and we are storing it on your behalf. So it ensures, I suppose, that if we went bust, then it's not affected. It doesn't, it can't be used to pay creditors because it's not ours. So you're protected in that respect as well.
No, that's good. And you give people a certificate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, on each purchase or transfer, I suppose, they'll get an original certificate which has got the company stamp on it, and that's what they need to sort of sign if they want to either collect part or all, or sell part or all, and then going forward, every time that they either do a purchase or transfer more gold to us, they'll get another certificate. So for each sort of transaction, they'll have a certificate.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question about a topic that sometimes comes up about whether the government is tracking people's purchase of gold, and whether also the banks are making it harder for people to buy gold, and whether you accept cash or pay in cash, the limits. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had reports from clients that the banks take a long time and put up a lot of hurdles when they try and transfer funds to us. We do accept cash. I mean, at the moment, because we've got quite a lot, the limit is about £5,000, but they can use a debit card or a check. Yeah, I know it's sort of old-fashioned, but I mean, we still do accept checks and things. And so, obviously we have a bank account, so they're not that much against us. When we first started in 1981, we actually dealt on behalf of all of the banks, all the high street banks, most of which still store with us. They've closed their gold departments now and passed their clients on to us. So at some stage they were buying physical gold on behalf of their clients, but that's obviously stopped. Apart from the government, from what I know, they don't. They can't do anything about currency, which in effect is what Britannias and sovereigns are, so coins of the realm. And also, if they are following us, and at some stage come in and say we want to sort of take your gold, and then we would obviously have to do that. But if you remember, all the gold that's stored by us, separate from our gold, is not our gold. We couldn't comment on it. We couldn't tell anybody whose it is. So, I mean, it's highly doubtful that they would do that, but it's protected as much as we can against that. But because of capital gains tax dropping down to a maximum of 3,000 a year, most people are going for Britannias and sovereigns. So, it shouldn't affect them in that respect. I think sometimes it's also good to do a variety of purchases. So rather than do one big purchase, whatever big means to you, it may be better to do a series of smaller purchases, which A, averages out the price, and B, doesn't necessarily raise any alarms if that's something you're worried about with the banks.
Yeah, and what about, if you buy over 10,000 pounds of gold, do you have to report it to, no, nothing?
No, not in the UK. We don't report anything.
What about in cash? No?
Yeah, it's more difficult with cash. I think what the correct way of dealing with cash over 10,000 euros, which has changed from 15,000 euros now, is that we have to show ID.
15,000 pounds, or
no, the euros.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so it's dropped down. I'm not sure quite
Why do
why.
they
We
use, why do they use euros? Is
don't
it,
know. I think it's just probably a hangover from when we were in the EU. But I think we have to show the money coming out of the bank, or the client has to, if it's a large amount. Normally, people won't have a huge amount of cash in their bank, and their bank will probably kick up a fuss if they wanted to take cash out of their own account anyway. So, but for smaller amounts, we don't have to do any reporting as such. But we need to keep records for anything over, say, £10,000.
oh,
It's also slightly more. We tend to want to charge slightly more when people pay in cash, certainly the larger amounts, because the bank charges us almost 0.6% to put our money into the account. So we prefer not cash, but for 5,000, from a variety of different clients over a period of time is fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's really good information. Again, if you guys want to buy gold and silver from Gold Investments, and many of you have already, check out the details below in the description. We've got a few deals going on right now. Maybe you could tell the the viewers when they do use my codes that the way they have to use that they have to use it separately, right?
Yeah, we can't. Well, our technical guru can't work out whether you can put more than one code in. So obviously for sovereigns, at the moment we've dropped the overall premium to 5%. So with your code, the Monaco 64 Sov, this is only for various dates. There's a further 1% off, which is far, far lower than, well, anything. And then the tenths and the Krugerrands, and then the normal one, Monaco 64 is for everything, apart from those. I think it'll still work. You take 0.5% off, but why would you if you could get a 1% off? But if you wanted to buy, say, 2 Britannias and 10 sovereigns, you unfortunately would have to do 2 deals. But I mean, it's just a bit of hassle, but we can't do anything this end.
Great.
So.
All right.
We are looking as well. I had an email earlier today. We're trying to do the same thing when you sell to us, so you get slightly more than you would, which is shown on the screen. Unfortunately, you just have to wait. When you sell, if you just send an email saying I'm from Mario, then I can do it sort of practically myself. But when the new website comes, which has taken a long time, but it should or hopefully will be possible to do that. But in the meantime, just tell me.
So they'll get 0.5% better.
Yeah, 0.5% more than they would. So depending on the shortage of the coin, it's a maximum of 2% below spot, but sometimes it's 1%. Then you would just get 0.5% less, i.e. 1.5% below spot or 0.5%.
Yeah, Oliver, I wanted to talk about lockdown because I remember a lot of the bullion dealers like you closed down and wouldn't deliver. But you did something special. Could you tell us what?
Yeah, well, I thought it was going to happen. I mean, I'm not any sort of sage, but we went off and collected all of the gold from the vault, our gold from the vault of the office, and brought it home, and simply worked from home. All the refiners were, or our suppliers were still working, so we were still getting deliveries. We were still delivering. We had to use a lot of COVID stuff, sprays and spray all the stuff before we packaged it up. But it seemed that nobody else was. I didn't quite understand why. I assume they have to go into offices and commute and that sort of thing. But yeah, so we worked from home and did a large amount. The price shot up, and hopefully we're going to sort of continue to keep the clients that we got at that stage.
And you were telling me that you and your brother were actually delivering personally, right?
Yeah. So occasionally, I live sort of north of London. He lives sort of south, at that stage, more south, down in near Guildford. And if anyone was local, then we would pop round there and drop it off. We still would now. I mean, I still have clients now who live close by, and they do it in, and they go, look, I don't really like the post, I don't particularly, we use DPD now as well. Can I pop round to your house and pick it up? Yeah, it's fine.
But I think during lockdown, a lot of the delivery services were not working, and they were not reliable, were they? Like that.
They were working and they were reliable. They weren't necessarily reliable in giving me the gold, because there were occasions that I ordered, I don't know, 50 kilos of silver from a supplier, and woke up in the morning and there it was sitting on my doorstep. So I mean, luckily I live in the country, so I haven't really got too many neighbours. But I think for delivery to clients, I think that was definitely a worry. So
Yeah.
we only used Royal Mail at that stage, because most people would know their postman and it comes with them or her.
Yeah.
So they sort of said, "No, do please knock."
All right. So to wrap up, Oliver, could you tell the viewers why gold and silver are important? Why do you think people should have some? Of course, that's your business.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. I think that people know about the fact that it's an inflation hedge. So if the value of fiat currencies go down, the value of gold will tend to go up. So depending on what interest rates do and inflation, you can always look at gold sort of outperforms that. Any geopolitical or economic unrest around the world, gold is a sort of a safe haven for people, and therefore people go into it. It goes up. I think that it's also kind of like a portfolio insurance, so that if the rest of your portfolio is suffering, whether that's stocks and shares or interest rates in itself, then gold tends to sort of go up. Again, I mean, apart from the fact that it's a long-term value, for centuries it's always been a asset class that stores the wealth, stores your wealth. Is also that there's no one else on the other side. It is an asset that is yours. It's a tangible asset that it doesn't. It's not affected by anybody else. So if you buy stocks and shares and that company goes bust, you lose your money. If you buy gold and you've got it, then it's irrespective. There's no counterparty risk in that respect. And it's always outperformed everything on a medium to long term basis. So it's not necessarily there to make you hundreds of thousands of pounds profit, but like perhaps Bitcoin or whatever. But it's a store of wealth. It'll always go up. It's safe and secure. And as you saw in the lockdown, it can shoot up. Silver is an expensive thing to buy because of the premium above the spot price and VAT. But people have been saying it's going to more than double in price, and so if people want to buy it, we won't sort of stop them. We just need to explain that silver would have to almost double before you get spot, before you make a profit. But that is on physical stuff. You can still buy silver, which we offer massive bars, and you sort of own part of it, and that's stored in Swiss banks. And there's no VAT on that. There's no storage charge, and there isn't a very large premium. So
That's the unallocated silver.
kind of like unallocated. Yeah, I think
So
what
it's just
Royal Mint call
price.
it. I think Royal Mint call it digi something. I don't know, digi gold, digi silver. But in effect, there's a very large warehouse, and there is actually a white line painted down the middle. On one side is unallocated, these massive bars, 12.5 kilo bars of gold, like the ones in the movies, and then even bigger ones for 375 ounces or whatever for the silver. And they can say that your gold is in there or your silver's in there, but we don't quite know which bit it is. And then on the other side is allocated, and then you can point out, like, that's your bar.
If you wanted to get delivery of the silver from the unallocated, you'd have to pay the VAT, right?
Yeah, and you'd have to pay the VAT on the day that you wanted the delivery. So if it's gone down, fine. Well, not necessarily fine, but the VAT will be less than you would have paid.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't really be any reason for that. It would just be easier, I think, at that stage, just to sell it. Whatever it is, 10 ounces at a time, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to say is for the viewers, if you are interested in dealing with Oliver and Simon, Simon is Oliver's brother, you
Yeah,
can either do it online, goldinvestments.co.uk, or if you're near London, you can go into the city.
yeah,
They're behind the Bank of England, not
yeah.
far away, but you need to phone them to check when they will be there. There are some days that they're not there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're there we're there almost every day. It's just that there's a lot of work in the vault to do. A lot of people are buying and selling and adding and taking away. So we leave Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays before, say, 2 o'clock, open for people just to wander in. Most people do call anyway. A lot of people, I think we're unlike other dealers in terms of that you can just call and have a chat. We don't sort of sell. You can ask advice, just chat for about gold or silver, and then at some point you may come in or do it online or whatever. So yeah, the easiest thing is just give us a call or email, or pop in. Yeah.
Great. Oliver, thank you very much for your time, and hope you have a great rest of the day and the
And
week.
yeah.
Take care.
All right. Cheers.